Yeah, I get right to the racks. Then I make that shit back. Run up on me, get shot in the back.
It's Jerry TV, the beautiful Scout Channel, man. Back under Darius, stay pause. We got the Rollin 60s, Crip, federal indictment, big U paperwork, extortion, and murder.
Damn, how long is this video?
It's 30 minutes, bro. So be prepared. Pause. 30 inches long. Pause.
Hey, yo.
He said, "Well, yo, it's Jerry TV, the Scout Channel. We had to cover this, man. This is like hot topics, hot news. Pops, if you're familiar, you should understand that this guy, Rap News and Street Politics, he's like the best documentary.
That's the dude that I like that.
The narrator, yep.
Yeah, he's super dope show, by the way. I'm sure you're going to see this. Yeah, but if it's your first time tuning in, subscribe to this beautiful channel. We keep up with current events, but more importantly, we keep it a stack here, meaning we just say the truth. I was going to say we're super biased, but we're super neutral. We're just looking from the outside in. So go to JavenTV.com, check out our merch. Also, subscribe to him on Instagram, Javen TV. We have a Discord below. I'm Pops React. So subscribe to the channel, request the content, and then we react. We're super interactive. You say, we play.
That's how we're too, man. No, we're talking.
News Street Politics, the best hood channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
And y'all know that we had to cover this Big U indictment. Man, as we see, the whole world is blew up over this situation between Big U, Brick Baby, Loose Cannon, and their co-defendants in this investigation that the feds are calling Operation Drawdown.
Wow.
Now, we see 19 pictures on that whiteboard, and we know, man, that's the
and
nastiest place you
right
can
in the
be,
middle,
with them people talking on the microphones and your face in the back. But, you know, we got our hands on the paperwork, a criminal complaint that was given to the judge over the telephone, recounted by Special Agent Andrew James Rusa. And everybody that watched that A-Tray Gangsta Crip federal indictment, we got more of the same. We got wiretaps, confidential informants, witnesses. Wow. But we also got murder. And we got celebrity rappers, boxers, NFL players, and NBA players. So let's jump right into it, man. So we know the feds came and swept everybody off their feet March 19, 2025. Wow. And the specific task force that did that was the Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force.
But it'd be weird, though, because a lot of these dudes be doing it for clout. They know Big U has a name, and, like, we'll see if he's actually, like, doing stuff. But I think Big U seems like a good guy with a right head on his shoulders. He been to prison. I don't think he's doing extortion and murder, bro. Let's see.
Well, it's pretty interesting because I was thinking that earlier. I'm like, damn, he's running a non-for-profit. So it's people. I mean, do people cook the books in the business? I guess, but he had checked off all the boxes. I don't see why you would do something like that. You know what I'm saying? You would try to keep it as square as possible. You know what I'm saying?
On violent gangs, a task force that's gonna be exclusive to the FBI Los Angeles.
But you're a target.
Yeah.
Now the key thing is when you're dealing with a task force, these dudes specialize in certain things. They have more tools. They have more funding to be able to really come down on people. And the main thing about a task force is apprehension. That's how they increase their funding, and they're usually known to have aggressive tactics that go along with those apprehensions. But in this situation, we have 5 main key players that are somewhat spearheading this federal.
It's pretty interesting because kind of like the way the feds are, like when they come for you,
it's over.
It's not looking too promising because they get you like years and years of surveillance or a lot of surveillance to make a case solid, whereas the local police will snatch you up and then you can try to fight it a little better.
Yeah.
State police.
Of course, we got Eugene Henley, Big U, who also goes by the name of Unc. We all know Big Draws, but they also have names of Hannibal Muhammad, Anybody Killer, or Dave Austin that Big U could also go by. We have his right-hand man, Sylvester Robinson, a.k.a. Vay. And we have his other close homie, Mark Martin, a.k.a. Bear Claw. These 3 defendants are the ones that's being charged with the RICO. Now, next in this paperwork, we got Tremaine Ashley Williams, a.k.a. Loose Cannon. He's charged with interference with commerce by robbery. Now, you know, every time they talk about interfering with commerce, it's always federal. Then we got Armani Aflahe, a.k.a. Monty. Y'all may know her as Trap Kitchen Monty. She's down on this indictment for transportation of an individual in interstate commerce with the intent that the individual engages in prostitution.
What?
We're going to break all this down. Next, we have Frederick Blanton Jr., who went by Blanton, and Tiffany Hines, who are labeled in the indictment as participants of bank fraud. Now, Zaire Mitchell, Brick Baby, he's also in this situation. He was caught on wiretap. We're going to talk about what he was saying on there, but he's actually in some separate paperwork on this indictment. But we're going to speak on this case too. Now, the reason that this indictment came forth is because it's being alleged that the Big U Enterprise is a mafia-like organization that utilizes Big U's stature and long-standing association with the Rollin 60s to intimidate businesses and individuals. So basically, he's using his business endeavors, coinciding those with the gangbanging, in an attempt to gain control throughout the city of Los Angeles. And the crimes that they allege he committed, along with his co-conspirators, to ensure that that control was actually gained, was murder, robbery, extortion, interstate transportation.
So basically, he's pretty much, it's over for him. He's going to be spent the rest of his jail. Because if you're the leader of a gang because look at Casanova, he got 15 years because he was allegedly a leader of a gang called Ape Gang or some shit like that, and he didn't even do nothing.
Sometimes you're guilty to association, but more importantly, he's like the biggest name on that board of people, like the people that they arrested. So it's just interesting because let's say someone like this gentleman or whatever that he's going through this, if because of the internet, his name is more like more people know about him. Back in the days, he probably could have did something like this and been smooth with it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But now on the internet, like even the guy that works on
No Jumper,
and then you're representing a whatever set or whatever,
yeah,
and the feds are watching that, and they're like, all right, we're gonna start listening to this young man's phone calls.
Wire fraud and bank fraud. Now, investigators allege that this whole scheme really formed in about 2008. Again, Big U got out of prison in 2004. And this is when he established all of these businesses that are being labeled criminal organizations in this indictment. But it's really said that federal investigators really put him on their radar in February 2021. And when I mean him, I mean Big U Enterprise and its associates. And those associates, of course, being from Rollin 60s, but the 6-0s were set to...
If you're looking to sell your car, Carvana will give you a real offer in seconds. You will be paid right when they...
to have been under a federal investigation since the year prior, August 2020. So everything has been in the works for about 4 or 5 years with this situation. Now, one of the first ways that they say he tried to exert control was with the popular phrase that he also used in a podcast of his, checking in. So it said that professional athletes, musicians, and anybody else looking to conduct legitimate or illicit criminal activity in LA was required to check in properly with Big U if they wanted to make sure they was protected. And it was said that he used his reputation to instill fear with acts of violence and intimidation to make sure people comply with this check-in rule. In a documentary film, he went on to say, and I quote, "You can choose not to check in, but it's going to be a problem. If you choose not to check in, you suffer the consequences." And in separate statements, he went on to say, an example of one of those consequences is what transpired with Quando Rondo and his people.
Video from the scene appears to show Quando Rondo distraught while first responders moved the body.
He said they didn't check in properly, and we all know them dudes from Chicago laid his cousin to rest over there by the Beverly Center. Now, he alluded to the fact that he could have changed that situation if Quando Rondo had to do what he was supposed to do, especially claiming to be a member from 6-0. Now, like I said, there's hours of wiretaps of communications between all the defendants in this case. And since the inception of this investigation, more than 50 people have been physically interviewed by the folks and agreed to voluntarily provide information in regards to different situations surrounding Big U. So this takes us forward a little bit to 2022, where the FBI interviewed a cooperating witness labeled a CW1. He's the one who provided all the information about this whole check-in process and made them privy to how Big U is shaking people down when they come to town. This confidential witness also broke down how Big U Enterprises was the money-making gang inside of the Rollin 60s. Now, just to give some brief details on who this confidential witness is, this individual has convictions for possession for sales of narcotics in 2003 and in 2009, as well as shooting into an inhabited dwelling in 2003. This person received cooperation credit from the Central District of California at sentencing in a prior drug conspiracy case, and Joe Biden commuted his sentence for that offense.
What's his name?
So if this sound like your people, they some bad people. He stated that these rap artists, athletes, not only had to check in verbally, but they also had to pay a fee, which takes us to Adrian Broner. So CW1 recounted an event that happened with Adrian Broner in June 2019, where it said that AB and a couple NBA players had a little dice game jumping off, in which AB had pulled out some trick dice and whipped all them NBA players' feet in the dice, totaling a debt of $1.5 million.
Yo.
After this dice game, it said that Big U sent his homies to rough AB up. It said that AB didn't check in properly, and now he trying to whoop people for millions in the city. Big U wasn't going for that. So it said his involvement was really at the root of the whole situation.
Nah, AB's different. What's wrong with him, yeah? Why would you do that? Well, because it was NBA dudes. It wasn't rappers in that.
I mean, NBA dudes are crazy too. I just think like Broner's about that life. He's used to living a certain lifestyle. Then maybe some funds went down. He's just looking for a come up.
That's why you don't do illegal stuff, because that's what happens.
A lot of people don't like AB, but what I do like about AB that he does the shit his way.
Yeah, for
You know what I'm saying?
Being involved in the parties, the gambling
Yeah,
parties,
that's wild.
And he mad
dice
funny.
games,
He's one funny
little
as
celebrity
man.
parties. He was in the mix everywhere. And it was said that he forced AB to forgive the debt that was owed to him from these NBA players.
What?
But it didn't stop there. He was paid $100,000 by these NBA players for negotiating the debt with Adrian Broner. And it was said that these NBA players or celebrities, whoever, would kind of have to get an approval from Big U.
That's
to
what I'm
operate
saying.
safely.
All that OG shit don't mean nothing now. You're going to get arrested for that. If you want to be OGs and extort people,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically.
that shit over with.
The issue is,
This is not 1995.
yeah, it's not 95, and it's also like you can't be the Godfather. You could, but there's consequences with it because, yo, he made dudes made him forgive a debt, and then they paid him 100 racks to negotiate that. That is some balls to the wall stuff, like Kingpin.
These events and functions moving forward. Now, there
In
was
modern
also
day
another
times,
event
Yeah.
in which Loose Cannon spoke on, and we're going to get to his old telling ass, but he stated that Big U has sent him on a mission to demand 50 racks from a celebrity rapper with the initials RR. Now, that could be Roddy Ricch, could be Rick Ross, I can't say. And he said if that rapper didn't pay, then they would look to kill a rapper with the initials by the name of MM. Now, that could be Meek Mill, so we could be talking about Rick Ross and Meek Mill here. This is just what the documents are alleged.
No way.
But it was said that RR dropped off the 50 racks, and Big U stopped answering Loose Cannon's phone calls and didn't split no money with him. But it's for show that Big U was out here squeezing people all the way just to operate in the city of LA. Now, the heaviest allegations in this case are from around the time that this investigation really started with Big U. And we all know the main things that bring these people out. If it's not a crazy amount of money, it's a murder, which takes us to January 25th,
Oh, shit.
2021.
It's getting deep.
And at this time, Big U had somebody on his label by the name of Rashawn Williams. Now, this is the individual that 600 was talking about.
He signed Crip Mac to his little, I don't know what he is. He's just like a big Crip dude, yeah. He's like a Crip dude that people know. He's almost like a Big U
But he
vibe.
got a badge on. What's that?
I don't know. Can you just
security.
educate
The
me?
legend that Big U had something to do with this homicide. But we gotta say, all these claims are allegations. These are the initial charging documents and a probable cause affidavit. Everybody's presumed innocent until proven guilty. We gotta say that. This is the beginning of a long journey. But the fact still remains, Rashawn Williams. And with this situation, there are some similarities to Nipsey Hussle. I gotta keep it 100. So it said that Big U and his business partner sent Rashawn Williams to Vegas to record some music in somebody's studio who later on became a witness in this case. Actually, 3 witnesses in this case were related to this recording studio. The security guard, the owner, and someone who acted as maybe a technician up at the studio. But nonetheless, Rashawn Williams is scheduled for the stu time, and he's supposed to record a song a day. It said that he's playing with the studio time and ends up recording a diss song aimed at Big U. Now, as we know, this is the same situation, somewhat, that happened with Nipsey Hussle, the diss record. What did Big U do with Nipsey Hussle? He pulled up, looking to administer that DP.
Well, I ain't no rapper. I'm a scrapper. So
Oh, he
we
put a
end
whole
up
team.
having to come talk about that.
Oh, wow.
Pull up the homies, and Nip admit it's wrong, but still there's some consequences to your wrong. I came to pick him up that morning so he can get his discipline.
He pulls up on Rashawn Williams all the way in Las Vegas with his co-conspirator, Sylvester Robinson. Now, when they got there, this is the first time that the witness or the security guard at this establishment had seen Big U. And we all know Big U is a distinct character, so there's no way he's gonna forget seeing Big U at the studio. Now, again, what led up to this visit at the studio was the diss record that was recorded 5 days prior. on January 20th.
But he sent them down there to record.
In that record, Rayshawn Williams rapped about somebody who had the money, which the feds allege a reference to Big U. And Rayshawn Williams also rapping about being shot in the face for thinking shit funny with a .38 revolver because it leaves no trace. Now, it's not known if Big U heard this diss record before or during his interaction at the studio with Rayshawn Williams, but something made him pull up. So Rayshawn Williams had an Airbnb in Vegas, and it said that.
So this guy ends up dying, and he ends up pulling up to go see him. Let's see what happens. This is not good, bro.
But this is alleged that he allegedly. So he's basically the boss killed his worker.
Yeah. Whoa.
Pulled up in a dark gray Lexus to the studio, and it said that the night before the homicide, Big U's phone was shown to have arrived at the Airbnb in Vegas that Rayshawn was staying at in the middle of the night. So it said that at 7:04, he was at the studio, and Rayshawn pulled up to the studio between 8 or 9 and recorded a record until about 11 or midnight. And at about 12:30 in the morning, the dark gray Lexus was no longer at the studio, but Robinson was. 12:58, Big U's phone disconnects from the cell towers. But at approximately 1:13 in the morning, the dark gray Lexus pulls up to the Airbnb. At this time, it said Rayshawn is seen getting out the car, going into the Airbnb, and coming back out with his suitcase. Mind you, Rayshawn wasn't supposed to leave Vegas until the next day, but he's bringing his suitcase out at 1 in the morning and putting it in the dark gray Lexus. So at 1:20, the Lexus pulls off from the Airbnb. And about an hour later, 55 minutes later, 2:15 a.m., both of Big U's phones connect back to the cell tower in our reported location. So it said that the drive from the Airbnb to the location where Rayshawn's body was found would take roughly about 42 minutes. And they say it took Big U approximately 48 minutes or 55 minutes from the time of leaving the Airbnb to turn his phone back on. Now, it said that Rayshawn's body was found in a landfill in the middle of the desert off the 15 freeway.
What the fuck?
Which we all know is the freeway that connects LA to Vegas. He was shot multiple times, including in the face, and his body was dragged into a ditch. And seemingly he was shot with the same pistol that he referenced in that diss song to Big U, a .38, because there was no shell casings recovered. But at this time, between 2:30 and 3 a.m., the gray Lexus pulls back up to the studio, and witness one, the security guard, reports seeing Big U drenched in either sweat or water, in which he replied that he had just got out the gym. 7 hours later, Rayshawn's body is found in the desert. Big U was out of there an hour after that, 10 a.m., back to LA. Now, because of inclement weather on the night of the murder, the DNA couldn't be restored. So a lot of DNA matches were coming up inconclusive.
Oh shit, this is not good.
I'm confused. Like,
so how he never got arrested? That's what you're thinking, right? For this,
I just feel bad in so many ways because like this dude probably gonna go to jail. The other dude's dead. Like, I wish there was a way that could have resolved this without it escalating to this. I mean, we obviously gonna go by what's said here, but there's so much that we don't know. Like, there's extra little details that we don't know. It's kind of, I'm just bugging out. Like, I don't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
What was left at the scene. But witness one will go on to make statements to the feds and to the North Las Vegas PD about this incident. And it said that Big U ordered somebody to go get the surveillance cameras out of the studio, destroy everything, to the point where they had to send money to the studio owner to get a whole new surveillance system. And a month after this is when the feds start really forming their investigation on Big U. Now, again, for everybody that watched that A-Trade video, man, if you ain't seen it,
made everything
so
right.
yeah, so that makes sense now. I'm like, so why was he getting looked at? It was the murder situation.
Yeah.
But they just let him, they just watched him. They had no evidence because the DNA was destroyed. So they were like, we're going to just watch you for the next couple of years. If his phone was
feds
there,
are
his
super
phone was there.
patient. That's what I want everybody in the audience to understand. The feds are super patient. They will watch you for 5, 7 years, 10 years. As long as you keep giving them enough bait for them to think that you're doing something.
because it's terms that are going to be continually used when speaking on federal indictments, like the Title III, which is the formal term for a wiretap, in which both Loose Cannon and Brick Baby were recorded on. So not too long after this homicide took place in Vegas, Big U is back doing the regular situation in LA, shaking businesses down. And Loose Cannon is said to be one of the quote-unquote enforcers of his shakedown crew. And there was one particular spot that Loose Cannon implied that he had dealings with in a weed dispensary in LA. Now, the owner of the dispensary was charged tax every month by Big U and Big U Enterprises to the tune of some months $25,000 a month if business was booming. But of course, that number was fluctuating. But at some point, the owner of this weed dispensary, who is a cooperating witness, of course, decided to stop paying because he didn't see the benefit of being taxed and shook down. So Big U sends Loose Cannon and some other dudes to rob him
It's like
and
a
put
movie.
that pressure on him to make sure he's paying.
It's a real life
At this
movie.
point, once Luce and all these dudes brought the work back to Big U, he also called the owner of the weed dispensary to come to the house as well, in which he gave him his items back, but put his tax on it to make sure he was getting his money. Now, the feds allege that Luce Cannon did nothing but corroborate the witness stories by telling all of this information on No Jumper, where they said Williams admitted to the robbery and the aftermath on the podcast. He also stated that he was Big U's right-hand man and started to implicate himself and Big U in certain crimes on these podcasts.
Yeah. And I told her, it's funny because I
The
said
No
it
Jumper Indictment.
at the beginning of this reaction. It's the internet, man. The internet has us in your house, in your face. Subscribe to the channel. This is the place.
Hey, Big U send that cease and desist to No Jumper and Vlad TV. The fans was watching. They seen Luce Cannon refer to Big U as Big Useless or Big Uterus. And they also have the January 3rd incident that happened this year where Luce Cannon struck somebody in the head and knocked him out with a pistol and proceeded to remove valuables from him, the jewelry, cash, cell phone, and added up everything to being over $5,000. They watched statements that Luce Cannon made saying he was Big Useless's.
Weird about this, these are like grown men. Like, these are not like young 19, 20-year-olds.
Yeah, but they gangsters.
And that's the like they live.
They're not square civilians like you and I. Like, we're just chilling, go to work, drink a beer on a weekend. Nah, these dudes is living that life, bro. Straight extortion, allegedly.
Yeah.
That he loves to fight, and that incident could have went a lot worse. Implicated himself in this assault, and implicated himself into working for a criminal enterprise, Big U Enterprises. He also posted some of the fight, and also spoke about how he was with Big U when P&B Rock was killed, and that they would have told him to comply with them dudes that killed him from A7 so they can bargain and get his jewelry back and tax him on the back end. He implicated himself in all of this, and we see him looking stupid, looking at his wife now, with the feds all around him. All that playing, doing too much playing on the internet. This shit not a game no more. You know, these dudes was known for fabricating situations, making up stories, and falling back in and falling out with people, doing a bunch of shit. Now people looking crazy. He also made statements online that he kidnapped a victim and put him in the trunk of his car and drove him to Big U's house.
What's the name of that
Why are we
rap?
talking about this?
What's the name of that rap? He was like, I did it, I shot him, I killed him, I did it, I shot him, I killed him.
I'm not sure.
It's like a rap, like when he be making fun of it. Oh no,
The victim
what's his name?
Drewski said that.
Drewski.
I did the
Shout
crime.
out to Drewski.
Who did the crime? I did the crime.
I did the crime. Who did the crime? He did the
Put him in
crime.
the trunk of his car.
We did the
and
crime
drove
at
him to
this
Big
time.
U's house. Why are we talking about this?
You say y'all was trying to kidnap him. No, that's capital. So explain that story. Wait, so how did you even come in contact with it? And I think supposedly there was a Big U portion of it.
Yeah. So basically, the
Grabbed him.
security is LA niggas.
Yo, I
We
noticed
from
that.
rolling 60s. So nigga, if you gonna protect somebody or whatever, you gonna pick the issue. You just getting paid $500 a day just to make sure he good. But nigga, you gonna lose your life.
This is what ended up Luce Cannon on the indictment. Now, it seemed that he didn't even need a wiretap. He do it for the camera. Brick Baby, on the other hand, they initiated that Title III, man, and he was on there talking about a robbery. November 11th, 2022, it said that Big U coordinated with Zaire Mitchell, aka Brick Baby, on how much Zaire would give Big U out of his proceeds from a robbery that he committed. So he was shaking Brick Baby down. All that popping it.
The big homie. Definition of the big homie.
So these are the guys that don't have no legal situations going on in their lives at all? I'm looking at this like Big U. Didn't he do mad time? He came home and you think he has
He a
like...
gangster, man. That's what I got. You gotta understand, son.
I don't understand, fool.
No, you gotta understand. This is straight gangster life here, bro. It's not even sugarcoated. He said, basically, for someone that was already in jail, he's like, yo, I'm gonna just do this, man. I'm gonna do it my way. I don't care. He's getting his money up.
Proceeds from a robbery that he committed.
This is like
So
a
he was
movie,
shaking
though.
Brick Baby down. All that popping it. But this is why he was still allowed to participate in hood activities and claim the hood, bang the hood, do all this. He getting shaken down by the OG. So all them dudes, Don Bo, Nelly, everybody that was calling him out, come to the hood, that shit didn't matter because he was paying his dues. As you should. I mean, that's what everybody does. That's what the G homies is looking for, especially from these young niggas. Anybody's gonna get on here and debate that, you ain't never seen it, man. That's crazy. This is what happens, especially the younger generation, man. We seen what happened to Sucker Free over in Lennox. We seen.
Yeah, we're gonna react to his song "Sucker Free," the racist song that he made. Rest in peace to him, but he made a song like it was very racist.
Especially the younger generation, man. We seen what happened to Sucker Free over in Lennox. We seen what happened to Money Sign Suede. Y'all go make sure y'all check our Nipsey video out. Kevin McIntosh put a copyright strike on us. Kev Mac made us take it down. He did that. Told on us on YouTube. trying to protect the situation. We broke the situation down in 2021. Look what happened to Nipsey. Don't see what was said in
Who's
it.
that?
But it was said that Brick Baby robbed somebody, and Big U was counting out the money and said it was only 2-3 racks. Brick said it was supposed to be between 5 and 7. But this little situation right here got him wrapped up in a federal indictment on the wiretap and paying the OG homie, furthering the criminal enterprise, is what they saying. So just like we spoke on in that Jefe A-Track Gangsta federal case, where they had controlled buys.
Well, that's not bad. I mean, if he only has one little case, he could probably go down for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not that. But usually they have, like, when indictments, I mean, all it takes is one little thing, you get caught in indictment.
Well, he's not the main target here. The main target is obviously the Big U guy. He's the main target here. That's the big fish. You know what I mean? That's the one that they want. Yeah, like Brick Baby and these guys are not going to do as much time, but it all depends, because a lot of times with these indictments, the initial informants or the snitches or whatever it's called, they embellish and they lie and they twist stuff up.
Like Woody.
You know what I mean? And they push it. They'll push a narrative so they don't have to go to jail. That they can lie on Big U, they can lie on Brick Baby, they can lie on them, they can lie. They could basically freaking lie and they're going to get away with it because they chose to snitch first.
Sources and witnesses, same goes here. Instead of buys, they had controlled extortion payments. So the people that Big U was shaking down, the FBI was giving them money to make sure it gets into Big U's hands as a documented payment for his extortion.
He got all the paperwork.
November 19, 2021. Again, not even a year after that murder. The FBI provided $500 in cash for the meeting, and Victim 1 paid that money to Henley. January 20th, 2022, the FBI provided $1,000 in cash that Victim 1 paid to Robinson for Henley. February 17, 2022, the FBI provided another $1,000 in cash that Victim 1 paid to Robinson on camera for Henley. In one of the meetings, Victim 1 paid Henley out of his own money.
It's over,
documented
right?
and given.
He done. Stick a fork in him. What he could do.
He's already in his 50s, 60s, yo. He's old. This guy's like an old gentleman. Like, this is not like young man. He's pretty much.
It's just I'm just bugging on the feds. Like, yeah, we're gonna get 500, then we're gonna get 1,000, we're gonna get another 1,000. That could probably be thrown out, because that could be some kind of entrapment. See, when you get into the legal jargon of it, he just got a lawyer up crazy.
Nah, but the murder is gonna.
He got a lawyer up crazy.
That
a lot. Look, right now, the DNA for the murder is suspect. It's not even really in play.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They do have the witness, the security guard, and the owner of the studio.
And the phone.
You know what I'm saying? But that still don't mean nothing. And they always use the phones to ping people. And I think sometimes they could be wrong. Well, his phone went off, so there's null and void. They don't have them. There's nothing to track. So
wow, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like, when you start looking at it in a legal way, like we're looking at it from the outside in. But
he got to take it to trial.
He got to take it to trial. I mean, unless they're not going to give him a
deal.
They're not going to give him a deal. They'll probably give the other dudes a deal. They're not giving him a deal.
Okay.
So his best bet is to take it to trial or just tell on everybody.
Give it to the feds on camera.
Be like, why lock one person up? You can lock up 25.
1,500. They was taxing them more at that time in July of 2022. But there was numerous controlled extortion payments. And there was also an incident where he extorted some club promoters in Deja Vu, where at his birthday he said that he wanted to have some entertainers. T.I. and Wiz Khalifa was supposed to pull up. He said he wanted 33% of what the bar made for the night. So after that, he calls one of the promoters and basically is like, look, y'all put my face on this flyer. It's all over the city. My wife is tripping. I need 30 racks. Club promoter like, man, maybe 20, because 30 is the pot. So I'll give you 20. I'll take 10.
Is it hard for you to trade with your 9-to-5 job? Because last year I made over 6 figures without even looking at the charts.
Yo, this nigga's the Debo of LA. What the fuck?
He need a movie.
I know.
He needs a movie because this is some movie shit. He's a movie star. Like his behavior, his alleged behavior, is that you could tell me that somebody's doing it, but like, nah, man.
Yeah, right.
He's extorting the little homies in his gang. He got people paying him. He negotiating NBA deals with people and making boxes not pay. You're like, that's not even happening in a movie. This is real life. Even the story, even if it's fiction, it's a good.
She said no, 30. Wiz Khalifa T.I. didn't end up pulling up. Some witnesses seen him shake the club promoter in the back for that 30 racks. And on top of that, he still asked for the 33% of the bar. And of course, these demands were followed by threats. He said he'll tear the whole shit up if the demands aren't met. He said they had 5,000 6-0s in the club to tear it down. Bring me my money. So he was doing a lot of strong arming in the city. Now, somebody else that everybody is surprised to see in this indictment, including myself. We follow each other on Instagram. This has been a big name in the city for years now. Trap Kitchen Monty. She was also on that Title III wiretap. The feds intercepted phone calls and text messages between her and Big U. Now, they also alleged that Big U was smacking it. I can't say. That's what's in the documents.
Damn.
But they were saying that she was providing women to cross state lines to do some hoeing and take care of some of Big U people in that fashion. Now, in June 2023, that federal task force interviewed her at her house. You know, she admitted to promoting prostitution, noting that she was known for bringing the hoes. She provided females to Big U as long as they was paid. And the next day after this, she was supposed to go up to the FBI field office and let them sync her phone up to their computer to extract all the data. Now, of course, she wasn't supposed to have communication with anybody after this interaction, but they intercepted her talking to Big U and meeting with Big U. And at this time, Big U was already knowing.
Oh, so she could have been an
informant?
informant?
Tapping phones. But at this time, she meets with Big U, breaks down everything that happened. And, you know, it looks like Eugene grounded her a little bit, made her pull her shit together. And she didn't cooperate anymore after that point. She didn't make another statement and didn't go to the FBI field office to empty the contents of her phone, because that would have blew everything up. But, you know, they got warrants for all of that right now. The biometrics, everything. They're trying to go through everything right now. But the reason Big U knew his phone was tapped was because a couple months prior to this interaction between Trap Kitchen Monty and the feds, Las Vegas police pulled up to Big U crib, tried to do the okie doke, saying they was new detectives working on Rayshawn Williams' case, and they just wanted to touch everybody that could know something 2 years later for the anniversary of his homicide. He wasn't at home at the time. His wife called him. And anybody know, if you ever got a phone call with somebody telling you, hey, the police looking for you, the number one question you ask, how many of them was it? That's the universal question. So the feds intercepted that call and noticed that Big U was getting wary about the phones. He didn't return home for 2 weeks after that point and started to move a little differently. But like I said, there was already hours of phone calls and what the feds are called a pertinent conversation that had meaning in relation to the indictment or the case. But you know, this whole situation right here gave them the opportunity to go ahead and look into his financial affairs, which is where they hit him with the EIDL. A lot of people thinking of PPP. When the IRS involved, it was the EIDL, the one before the PPP that wasn't forgivable. Everybody know what I'm talking about. Don't do that. They said he got 90 racks from the EIDL under Unique Music, saying he operated with a $200,000 profit for the year when he was actually at a $5,000 loss. Oh, shit. And got him for a fraudulent application on that. Yeah. So this is where the bank and the wire fraud come in. The embezzlement. And it's funny because
they're getting him on little shit after like his indictment, right? No, that's not little.
Well,
but
they pile it on. But I was a little confused. So he got 90,000.
But he said he had a $200,000 loss.
Oh, okay.
Or profit. Wait, what was it?
I'm not sure, but I know that at this point,
profit. Yeah.
I don't know if he needs to do anything else. I think he's in enough trouble with this. This is a lot.
On that. So this is where the bank and the wire fraud come in. The embezzlement. It said that he embezzled around $150,000 on 7 separate occasions, where we see in August of 2019, he got $20,000 donated to his business by an NBA All-Star. January 2020, $14,000 that he embezzled from a payment from an award-winning music publishing company. Now, the embezzlement happened because these people were donated to a business. So in this case, for example, the publishing company donated $24,000. Once they followed the money, it was seen that $14,000 out of that $24,000 was transferred to his personal bank account and being used for personal expenses instead of the business expenses that were negotiated at the time of the donation. Simple stuff. Very simple. As they try to add everything up. This is what the feds do. And it's at September 21st, 2022. He embezzled $19,000 out of a $20,000 donation from an NBA MVP, former NBA MVP. And he also had a situation with ex-NFL player Willie McGinnis. Well, I believe it's Willie McGinnis, based on a situation that Willie McGinnis had in the club at the same exact time. And the indictment is referencing somebody named WM, who was a former professional football player, where it said that this individual busted somebody in their head with a bottle at the club. Big U had to step in and had to squeeze them folks from pressing charges, getting the heat off Willie McGinnis. Is this how his son is in the NFL? I can't say. I'm not gonna go there. Of course, you got to be talented, but we see a lot of the companies Big U was keeping. It's some high-ranking people, especially in LA. Now, they also allege that he misappropriated funds from the GRID program and from the city of LA. Now, the GRID program is also that situation where
he's getting it by any means, yo. Any little way he can squeeze money out of people, he's doing it.
Go get a definition of a hustler. This is a modern world hustler.
With the police. It's a gang intervention program where they do have dealings with the folks as well. But clearly, if he was operating with the folks, it didn't help him none in this situation, man. When we see it looks like 600 really is the folks. But since 2015, his company Developing Options received $550,000 from the GRID program. And between July 1st, 2018 to July 30th, 2023, he received $2.3 million from the city of Los Angeles. This is what people was talking about when they said that peace was inflated. That peace movement that was happening in LA, 8 Trays, the Hoovers, whoever, 6 O's was sitting down, is some large money involved in peace in these intervention programs. This is what was being alleged. This type of paper. You can't fault nobody for trying to get a legal bag. But when the funds are misappropriated, this is how you see a situation like this. And on the wiretaps, we also see multiple threats, many to WAC 100, where he's communicating with people, stating that he needed to break WAC 100's jaw and that he needed to beat the shit out of WAC 100. There was also a situation where he described threatening to kill some dudes from Grape Street, saying he had paperwork on some of his homies in the 60s, and speaking on how he's the biggest Rollin 60 member to ever exist, including Nipsey Hussle. So, you know, this is very early in this situation between Big U and this co-conspirators. But we're going to keep providing y'all with this dope content, man. Y'all make sure y'all like, comment.
Wow, that was good. That was good
That was
shit.
fulfilling. That was like a good meal, y'all heard?
It's Big U. I mean,
that's a good meal, man.
It's JTV.
This is JTV. We out of here.
And I know how it gets, so I gotta stay low, not move my knot. I don't trust no nigga, I don't trust no man, ain't no friends, everybody get shot. You never know how nigga gon' throw, I'm hitting the flow with a couple of shots. You better move.